Okay, hey guys. This is going to be a little bit of troubleshooting, because I am not at my apartment. So I want to make sure that it's coming through. I know if you guys maybe noticed, I went online for, I don't know, to me it looked like 2 minutes or something a little while ago. It's because I had to set up OBS at a new location because I am with Hard Bastard today.
Yes. How is the audio coming through? Are we good? Is everything good? I think this is...
Yeah, just, okay. I'm not seeing anything, any complaints yet. So, yeah, okay, then in that case, what we're going to be... This isn't the state. We finished that.
Yeah, that's over.
This is not worse, because I don't know what would be worse than the state. That was pretty fucking terrible and repugnant. But this is bad, too. So, several people have asked both of us, I think, to talk about or cover this absolute garbage shit show that started this fall on Comedy Central. And it's just cringy. It's essentially this guy, what's his... I can't even remember.
Jordan Klepper, I think.
Yeah, I have it up. Watch.
Klepper.
Oh, Klepper. I
Klepper.
fucking even removed it, so my title is fucked up. Whoops. Oh, well, guys. That might be funny that way. Anyway, okay. So, he's essentially trying to do what Colbert did. He's trying to do to Alex Jones in satirizing Alex Jones in the same way that Colbert satirized Bill O'Reilly. The difference is the political climate is completely disparate. At the time, even, like, as terrible, as absolutely awful as Colbert is, and I just made a video about it, absolutely awful as Colbert is now. He was funny, and he used to actually make fun of both sides. This shit, as with The Daily Show as well, and pretty much all late night, is completely, like, insane, unhinged, leftist propaganda bullshit. So, we, just wanted to... Well, actually... You and I watched it, an episode, a random episode of it the other day, and we were both blown away by how insane it was.
Yeah, the level of propaganda here is crazy, and the level of dishonesty. I don't even know if it's one of the clips, but the show's on, I think, every night. And one of the clips that we watched, are we covering the Antifa clip?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm not even going to say anything. We'll just watch it.
Yeah.
That was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, hold on to your fucking butts for that, because that's the worst one, I think. But anyway, we're just going to go over a couple clips from it, of course, as usual, so that we can try to avoid the copyright police. Everything is going to be backwards and color corrected, just to try and avoid it. And, of course, tell me if the stream goes down, because they can also get the audio sometimes. Anyway, so we're going to start with... Yeah, I think that's all there is to say to preface this. There's not much.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Unless you have anything else.
No, because all of it will be just describing what we're about to watch, so we might as well start it. And this is the commercial, right? The first thing?
Right, this was the preview for it, which is, we had both seen it, and I was like, oh god, that's fucking terrible. But, yeah, this is pretty bad. So this is supposed to get you interested in the show. This is the advertisement, all right. And of course, let me know if the sound comes through okay.
If you look closer, you can see a lot of cameras out there. And that's the mainstream media. Don't trust anybody who's talking to a camera.
So, you know, obviously he's pretending to be Alex Jones.
I'm Jordan Klepper with the opposition. What are we opposed to? The resistance, which is technically resisting the opposition. There's a lot of forces at play. The point is, I'm here at a Trump rally to get the word out. I've started a brand new show called The Opposition.
Okay, good.
Right? We are anti-mainstream, anti-Soros, anti-globalist.
Anti-Soros, anti-globalist.
We're anti-Oprah's book club. We're anti-FA.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I just already want. It's already. I like that guy's shirt too. Yeah. But it's already like this guy's confused because it's clearly fucking retarded and not at all what they're like. Nobody's gonna buy this insanity.
The other thing is that this is like, this isn't just straight up propaganda. It's more subtle. So like you'll notice they'll put real things that are verifiable, like George Soros, globalism. Okay, those aren't fake news. Those are real things. And they'll put it in with And we're also protesting. I think one of the things he said was faux, like protesting ridiculous shit, as if it's ridiculous to have an issue with George Soros.
Right, that's basic priming and framing. So the whole idea is if you associate, and we've talked about this plenty of times, that media psychology is basically the priming effect is to connect two cognitive heuristics, the mental pathways, which is the way that the brain associates ideas, and put two ideas together like that, and then when they're recalled in the future, if you can wear in this insanity or the absurdity of these ideas by associating them with each other, then maybe you could... Well, you're obviously not trying to change this cool-looking dude's mind, but your audience, you're trying to associate saying George Soros is as ridiculous as whatever the fuck.
And we just saw this the other day. If you watched the news stream I did yesterday, we saw this with the Young Turks because they brought up a minor Hillary Clinton story and then added, as if it was on the same level, the Uranium One story, which is a huge fucking scandal.
As the uranium thing, too.
Right, exactly, uranium thing.
Jesus.
Not anti-pho, the movement, the Vietnamese soup.
Oh, man, I love pho, man.
What? It's basically just broth.
I think he was honestly surprised that this guy in the cowboy hat knows what pho is.
Well, because they probably assume that everyone's a mouth-breathing racist that goes to a Trump rally.
Of course. Yeah, like his immediate response of what? And then he had to come up with a shitty joke to, oh, it's just soup. No, it's not just soup. Or not just broth. We just had pho.
Yeah, I was just saying pho last night, or 2 nights ago.
On my new show, I'll expose the hard truths the mainstream media won't tell you. Chuck Todd has a ponytail. You never see the back of his head. Look at the tapes. All you see is him from the front.
Most of the main media people that you guys all listen to, the fake news out there, they're married to the Barack Obama administration.
Hell yes.
I heard a rumor.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Right.
I mean... They just want to make, and of course, when they went out here, they did try to find like the craziest looking people. Absolutely,
of course,
absolutely.
Is it true?
Doesn't matter. Just spew it.
Okay, I heard a truth that.
You said rumor, but you
just
called it a truth.
Rumor.
That's how it happens, right there. What is the message that isn't getting out there?
You can only be white and be conservative. That's not the case. You can be any skin color. You can be any race. It doesn't matter.
You can vote against your own interests. It's the American way.
That's what. Fuck.
If you would like a glimpse into the racism on the left, there you go. That taking away black people's agency and mocking a black guy for voting for Trump because, according to his white ass, he believes that black people are voting against their own interests if they vote in a way that he doesn't agree with. That's fucking ridiculous.
Right. And I've said this before, and also I know Devil's Advocates said it, which is because if you really fucking think this way, you little cocksucker, what you're essentially saying to this guy is, you should not have the right to vote. But black people should not have the right to vote unless they vote the way we want them to. So why did you give them the franchise in the first place? It's the same thing with women. It's the same thing with all minorities. They always pull this shit of like, oh, women voting for Trump they voted for a sexist. That's against women's interests. No, my interests are my own because I have agency because I'm a fucking grown-ass adult who's allowed to vote in this country.
Yeah. And it's just a very dickish, asshole-ish thing. I don't know who thinks that this is a good idea to come off like this. That's just, the whole thing is offensive.
And I don't know who would find that. This is the advertisement again, remember? This is the fucking advertisement.
Right, it's supposed to get you to want to watch it.
I would, if I was a black person, I would be disgusted. I mean, I'm disgusted as a white person, but that's secondhand. God.
It's the American way, exactly.
Yep. Fake news, fake tripod, only has 2 legs. There will always be forces working against us. Right into the heart of it now. But the opposition won't be afraid to face them head on. I'm here in the anti-Trump rally. And I'll tell you what they're trying to block the truth. I'll tell you what they're not talking about. What they're not talking about, he's still blocking the truth. Get out of the way of the truth. Our movement has enemies everywhere. But these people know who the real threat is.
Like, because I know, and again, he's trying to be Alex Jones. The thing is, it would be very hard in general to be funnier than Alex Jones. But clearly not in doing a really shitty playing at it, or what would you impersonation of him. It's awful.
And the other thing is that if you're going after Alex Jones, you're losing already. People know who Alex Jones is. They understand what Alex Jones is. Making fun of Alex Jones is from 2003. This is their playbook is so outdated.
Right.
And again, who is going to watch this? This show has no chance to survive.
Well, that's a good question. We talked about that too, but it's a good question is who the fuck is this aimed at? Now, first of all, you're right. You can't mock Alex Jones because nobody makes fun of Alex Jones more than himself.
Exactly.
He's totally embraced his status as a living meme. So you can't really mock him. He's not Bill O'Reilly. You know, it's a completely disparate situation. Additionally, the people who would potentially be interested in watching the show have never seen Alex Jones. I don't even think they really know what he is outside of memes.
Yeah.
So, and they do play clips from him a lot. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck this is supposed to appeal to beyond just completely brain dead lefties.
It's almost like, it seems like on Comedy Central, they're making shows for themselves and not for the actual audience.
Yeah.
To democracy is. The mainstream media focuses on Russia and North Korea. What should we really be focused on?
Well, if I say Hillary, it would sound wrong, but I think Hillary.
Of course, Hillary Clinton, public enemy number one. What do we need to do to move forward with the Hillary Clinton situation?
Barrier.
Bury Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I hate her.
I supported this shirt and Hillary going to prison because
But Hillary's not in prison.
she's not in prison. I think we should get Hillary in prison.
I think we
for
should
sure.
impeach Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, absolutely. Impeach Hillary Clinton. Come on, man.
Why?
Okay, what a dick. What a fucking dick. He did that because he was going along with it. It's like, yeah, okay, so you think Hillary should go to prison? Yeah, impeach Hillary Clinton. But, much to his chagrin, I'm sure, the dude was like, hang on, what the fuck are you saying? And by the way, impeach Hillary is like his tagline.
Yeah, he's always joking about that. No one argues to impeach Hillary. It's trying to paint people that disagree with Hillary and the corporate narrative as stupid and what's weird is like, this is what they ended up with, right? So this is what they considered their best clips. And even in their best clips, they have a guy who's supposed to be the idiot take a step back like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't impeach Hillary Clinton, dude.
And a black guy saying, or him saying to a black guy, maybe you probably shouldn't have the right to vote or voting against your interests, whatever. God damn it.
Will you sign this petition to impeach Hillary Clinton?
Most definitely.
To initiate proceedings, please sign below so we can oust Hillary from public office. Yes, sir.
We have to impeach Hillary.
Yeah, I agree.
This is what we need, an informed public.
Look, people don't read this shit too carefully. You can go back and find Jimmy fucking Kimmel out there with a petition to get getting women to sign that was to end women's suffrage. Look, I mean, these people are out here at a rally. They're not paying too much close of attention. And also, if it didn't actually say it said remove her from public office, no,
some people would think he's in public office.
That she's still in public office. I not everyone might understand that Hillary is no longer in public office.
And you're always going to get misinformed people on both sides, no matter what rally you go to. So you can paint any group of people in any manner that you want to by finding a person in the group that says something or goes along with something that's wrong.
Actually, there's a psychological effect. It's called foot in the door. So foot in the door and door in the face are these two car salesman techniques that get used a lot in persuasion, or get brought up a lot in persuasion theory. Foot in the door is that you've given something to somebody by handing them a petition, and then they're expected to give you something back. It's why when people approach you on the street and try to sell you shit, sometimes, for some people, myself included, I gave $20 to Syrian children yesterday because somebody approached me on the street.
Oh, remember when that monk gave us that thing and I gave him money? Yeah, that happened. Although I like monks. But whatever, that's another story. Go ahead.
It's hard to say no when people, it's a function of social proof because we're a social species, of feeling the need, it's what Cialdini calls reciprocity.
Takes action. Don't let the informationalists tell you that she's not in D.C. She's there, and we need her out of the White House. Here's what we're doing.
Do you also think some of these people, they know exactly? They're just thinking it's
just
funny?
going along with it because it's funny. Yeah, exactly.
It needs to be done. Impeach Hillary! Impeach Hillary! Impeach Hillary!
By the way, they could have thought that he was talking about after she wins the election. Wasn't this before the election?
No.
When was this footage? This was after Trump won?
This was after Trump won,
okay,
I think.
Okay, I got you.
As for, somebody asked about the blue filter. I think I said this before, but guys, all the videos have to be flipped and have filters on them. Otherwise, the stream will get shut down by an instant flagging from Comedy Central. It's happened when we were watching the states, and something else, and motion capture.
Yeah.
It always happens if we go live with this stuff. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all that is.
So yeah, now you got this.
Okay.
I forgot what the second one is.
The second one's going to be a bit on education that I personally found irritating. This particular episode was on September 28th. There were two really annoying parts to this episode. I just downloaded some of the most recent ones, and then I just downloaded a couple and skimmed through them to get a general idea of what the show is like. Just because, you know what, we have to be fair. Maybe the show is not always that cringy and terrible.
Of course.
Maybe sometimes it's really funny.
Must be fair.
Now, because it's me, and I always like to talk about education, I did want to go with the education bit.
Sure.
So.
Moving on. I'd now like to turn to education, a subject I'm well acquainted with, like woodworking and splinter removal. And right now, our education system is teaching more harm than good. According to a new poll, 58% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents say colleges and universities have a negative effect on the way things are going in the country. 58%. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is believable, because colleges are completely corrupt.
That's almost half.
Oh, that's a very informed person that believes that colleges are causing problems in the country. Not only, and we're not even getting into anything in regards to the quality of education, in regards to the money. I'm simply talking about what you're seeing on college campuses when it comes to shit like free speech and what they're teaching in regards to the social justice courses. So, again, you have a guy on here who is pretending that somehow people are dumb for having an opinion that is well-informed and accurate.
Yeah. And by the way, chat, I am reading the chat. I've got it up, guys, so I can absolutely see you if you guys think I can't. I'm reading it. But yeah.
I'm glad that America is waking up to the sinister plot of higher education, and I'm not alone.
Freedom of thought and speech on American campus are under attack. It is transforming into an echo chamber of political correctness and homogeneous thought, a shelter for fragile egos.
You only get one political point of view for 4 years. Professors are more times concerned with pushing this PC narrative than they are with teaching the facts.
Yes.
But like all of that is okay. Some of it you could argue is subjective, sure. But a lot of that is absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. There is no free speech on many college campuses anymore. They absolutely will shut you down. I mean, look at how many, they had Ben Shapiro on there.
Yeah.
Cost $60,000. Hey, Appa Ben, what's up? Cost $60,000 for him to speak at Berkeley.
I think it might have been
600,000. You're right, actually.
600.
You're right. It was 600.
Insane.
All because they had to hire so many police forces and extra campus security because, because it was such an attempt, such a incredibly focused and directed attempt to shut down free speech.
For some reason, the people who spend all their time around books and learning all believe the same facts.
Holy shit. What an appeal to authority.
Do you see why this pissed me off?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay. By the way, no. Some facts are, yes, sure, but like in any field of study or inquiry, there's disagreement among anything. Fucking anything, there's disagreement. Right. This is somebody who has no fucking clue, and neither does his audience in general. They have undergraduate degrees in arts and theater and stupid bullshit feminism crap, and not in anything remotely scientific where you would know that consensus is not generally how most of science works.
They're also, I see this a lot, where they're playing from the playbook from 2003 and 2004. In 2003, 2004, you could make the argument that there was a lot of creationism being pushed to be taught beside evolution in schools. And,
sure.
And when you would go to sites like Right Wing Watch, they would have people like Brian Fisher that would say crazy shit. That is not the case anymore. And so it's almost like they're using the old idea of what conservatives are like from back then and trying to apply it now, but it's completely not accurate now, because now conservatives are basically anyone that's to the right of crazy or to the right of Marx.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. This is all out of the 2003 a George Bush era playbook. It's not. It's so out of touch and out of date that. I don't know. They have to put these in front of test group audiences, right?
That's incredible.
Who the fuck greenlit? I keep wondering that all the time about all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is brainwashing. A huge problem in our universities. And here to discuss the decline of education is citizen journalist Colbert Lebby. Colby.
This guy is insufferable. Yeah. Well, they both are. At least he's kind of trying to play a character.
Yeah. Where have universities gone wrong?
Oh, simply put, today's universities are narrow-minded conformity factories. They shut out any ideas they deem not PC or disproven.
Yeah. It's troubling.
Do you see the conflation there? The
massive
priming?
Bullshit there.
The absolute priming that happened there again of being not politically correct is the same thing as not being factual.
Right. Yep. That's incredible. That is like, I don't even know what I would like. This is like deeply embedded propaganda inside what's supposed to be comedy. Although the other problem is they're not really funny. It's very cringy. There are shows, at least like Jim Jeffries, that guy is at least funny. This show is just not funny and cringy.
Well, the very scary thing about that, though, is that humans tend to store long-term information. Well, we find this through the humor research, that when people are laughing, they tend to store information more for long-term processing. So, for example, it actually is beneficial for professors to use humor in a way that is related to their subject matter in order to get students to memorize it more easily. That's very scary if you're talking about indoctrination and what the fuck that just was. Not PC means it's not factual.
Yeah.
Ministry of Wrongthink. Whoa, it went away. Oh my god, okay. This is not about having an intellectual space. It's about creating a home here. Yeah, I remember that Harvard student, future McDonald's employee. Yes, I'm sure she is currently well, no, she's probably living on welfare or in mommy's basement. Thank you, Ministry of Wrongthink. And Crazy Ace King, thank you for Super Chat. Soon we're going to have a reverse Scopes trial.
I don't know what Scopes trial is.
Remind me, yeah, you don't have to Super Chat it. Wait, what was the... That sounds super familiar, but my brain is on one level of thought. And I might have to... Remind me of history. I only know about social science, apparently. I'm fucking retarded everywhere else. That sounds right, but yeah, remind me.
It's worse than troubling, Jordan. It's concerning. Take me, for example. I'm an expert in under 400 fields. History, mathematics, not touching things that are...
Oh, the evolution in schools thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah.
Well, pretty much, isn't that well, they just did this today. There was an article I read that was about removing all white men from literature classes.
Yeah, I have
removing white. Yeah. So no more Shakespeare, no more Poe, nobody who might have been who's a white male, because that's it discourages black students or students of color, excuse me, from it makes them so they can't learn, because it's absolutely physically impossible to empathize with anybody.
Yeah,
who doesn't look exactly like you.
What was interesting in the article was that the person that was against white men being taught about, so white poets, was that they admitted that they were not doing this for equality. They were doing this to get rid of white people being taught about. Like, it's amazing that we've reached the point where at least people are being honest about what's happening. Like, this isn't about equality. This is about removing white people. I think they called it decolonizing education. Or I forget. I think that's the term, decolonizing education, which is like removing any sort of white person. And I forget what school this was. It might have been Yale.
It was, I think
it
was an Ivy League school. Yeah. But there was also recently there was that professor who came out and said that math is inherently racist. And we have to also decolonize math because something about it keeps people of color out of math. No. Oh, and then what was I saw you were reading something today that was sort of about how black students were all upset that foreign students were doing better than them.
No, black students were upset and wanted to remove black students from Africa. From Africa. So we've come full circle that the American black students want to remove black students from Africa from the schools.
Isn't that so indicative of the bigotry of low expectations?
Yeah.
That Indian dude, yes, receive moral lectures by ideological eunuchs who lack the moral fortitude to stand up to sexual predalians of Harvey Weinstein. Thank you for the super chat. Well, yeah, of course. Well, I mean, some of them are coming out against Weinstein now, but it's weird. It's very hard for them to sacrifice their own. It happens every single time. Male feminists, you might as well just call yourself fucking a sexual assaulter.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be a pattern with that shit, and also the people that virtue signal the most, whether it's against Trump or against some sort of social issue, are usually the ones that are doing it. Like I just found out. I've been reading about, there's a Rolling Stone writer named Matt Taibbi who is, I guess, part of the, quote, resistance of Trump. And people were reading the shit that he wrote in like 2000 about being in Russia. And he's basically, if we are to take him at his word, he's basically a rapist. Yeah. But somehow it's okay for him to be a rapist. But Donald Trump talking about grabbing women by the pussy is somehow worse than the actual act of sexual assault or rape.
That's when John O. Thank you for the super chat. HB, how does this show remind you of how JWs treat non-believers?
I think most of how the left treats people that disagrees with them. It reminds me of how Jehovah's Witnesses treated non-believers, which is scary. Like I did not think that that's something that I would see in the real world. I thought I was finished with that after I left the cult. But you see it. Every level of it, whether it's progressives or anyone on the left, and it can be over the smallest thing. If you retweet Paul Joseph Watson, you'll be called a Nazi. It's incredible.
Hot.
That's a great question. When does warm become hot?
A classic question in the field. Yet, my expertise is routinely ignored by mainstream academia. It's been this way since I was at Cornell, suing them for not accepting me.
You joke about that, but that I think is becoming a real thing. At least in terms of that woman whose name I cannot recall from Princeton, who it really, really looked like she was in some legal shit with Princeton. I know she had threatened to sue them in the past. The woman who got the PhD in math, and it was like basically a poetry.
Oh, I do remember. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Oh yeah, I did a enormous study. I would flatter myself to call it an expose on that woman because I read her fucking thesis. But no, I think she probably did threaten to sue Princeton, and then they gave her a PhD over it after a year. That is unheard of, guys.
No privilege of any kind involved in that.
No, not at all. The real Homer, thank you for the super chat. Aiden got a sweet ass. I'd love to bury my face in it and make train noises. Well, thank you for the super chat. Wasteland Nomad. I don't get the self-hate from white people. I'm a young 19-year-old black male. Fuck those hypocrites. Yeah. I find it repugnant too. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't. Ugh. I don't.
They treat black people like children.
Right.
The example of the guy in the first clip where he was saying or alluding to the fact that the black Trump supporter was voting against his own interests. Like, that you don't realize how fucking racist you are by believing shit like that. And you're so clueless about it that you'll say it on camera and then the people who are editing this will say, oh, that's a good thing to put that in there.
Yeah. Cosmic Dorgoran, SJWs are white supremacists that feel bad. Is that TRS who said that? That's essentially what Sargon showed with that guy, Thomas Smith. It's true. They are. They're white supremacists. They inherently think white people are better and that we need to shut ourselves down or capitulate because we're so much better inherently that if the free market is allowed to work the way it does freely without government intervention, white people will always win. Because we're so much better. Yeah. That's like the definition of white supremacy.
Yeah, like they have no problem acting like another group of people are children that need to be cared for. And they think that's okay. And then they're telling you that you are the racist because you want to treat people equally and treat people as if they have agency.
Right. Well, what was that? Yeah, you'll go over that later, guys. Crazy Ace King. Why, yes, I have a PhD. My lawyers got it for me. I would say in the case of that one woman, her name escapes me. That might be the case.
They said they'd never seen a GPA expressed as a negative number before. I say that made me a pioneer.
You are a pioneer, Kobe. You opened my eyes to ice cubes and how they're not really frozen water.
They're cold rocks, Jordan.
Why else would we be ordering drinks on the rocks?
Precisely. But changing the system will be difficult.
Funny.
Today's college...
I see what they're going for. They're going for Colbert. So hard. Hard trying to ape Colbert. But it's just... And, maybe... I have to admit my own biases. Maybe it's because I've moved further to the right, although I don't think extremely to the point, because, guys, I own Colbert's book. I own Jon Stewart's book on America. I used to watch The Daily Show and the Colbert Report every single day. And I went to the, what was it? The Rally to Restore Sanity. I liked them. I thought they were funny, even though I didn't agree with them politically. So maybe I'm biased, but I just don't find this funny.
No.
Colleges are an investorable cesspool of liberal brainwashing.
Investorable, is that a word?
That's the thing the elites don't want you to know about words, Jordan. They can be made, like pancakes or a diploma.
It's just not funny. Aaron Segura, goddamn, that hit the nail on the head. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, they really are. They're white supremacists who who just feel bad about their white supremacy.
Yeah. The point is, academia is frightened by new ideas. Look at my academic peer, former Trump advisor Sebastian Gorka. If you haven't guessed from the beard, he's a counterterrorism expert. Now, Gorka holds a PhD from a Gorka-respected Hungarian university, yet his...
Isn't that incredibly,
I mean, what is he going to say here? I don't understand what the...
It's a Hungarian school, so his degree doesn't count.
Okay, but I'm aware of Sebastian Gorka. What is he going to say that Gorka has said that is so outrageous? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Credentials are routinely criticized just because he appears to know nothing about the field he's an expert in.
There's more to expertise than knowledge.
Quite. Expertise is about poise.
Contradicting themselves here, aren't they? That's like, so you need to have this degree because, obviously the academics are the ones who hold all knowledge, but then if you have a degree, if you're a person who we don't agree with, then it doesn't matter if you have a degree or not. You're a fucking moron.
Right. And are they going to list the problematic things Gorka has said? Because I've heard him speak about Islam, and he's pretty dead on. I don't really that's the other thing that you'll notice. If you're dealing with a person that's not honestly arguing or debating you, what they'll do is they'll claim that you're wrong about something, but they won't actually list what it is to have a discussion.
No, exactly. Crazy Ace King, again, thank you for super chat. He's only funny because he's bad. Yeah, when I was watching these clips originally, I found myself chuckling, but it was at the cringe.
Confidence and refusing to back down in the face of new data.
That is the definition of genius.
And now, when a non-expert looks at new information, they will question what they think they know.
And that is the definition of weakness.
Exactly. That's why my greatest credential of all is certainty. And it's because of that certainty that, much like Gorka, I've overcome academia's hostility and become an influential thought dominator.
I think this gets kind of boring.
How else would I have published numerous books with Random House?
Well, it is a joke.
Random House.
Yes, Jordan, more specifically, a series of random houses.
That's it. That was it. They're just throwing his name out there, saying he's stupid and saying he's wrong. There was nothing else.
Jesus Christ.
Do you think that the average person in the audience even knows who Gorka is?
No, they don't. I just know him because he's savage to the media, and when he was with the Trump administration, he would do the rounds of the morning shows, and he was fantastic.
So do you see the priming again? They just said Gorka associated with Trump, retard.
Right, yeah. Incredible.
Self-published there to keep the government from tracking my movements.
Smart. Would you happen to have any of those books on you?
I think this is just stupid, but I don't know if he did something after this.
My books include Glue.
We can look at their attempts at jokes. How about that? We'll look at their attempt at a joke.
Yeah, okay.
A study of how buildings attach to the ground. Sedan, car, or country?
Okay,
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Finally, women in the sciences, a bad idea.
I mean, like, I find that funny, but probably not for the reason he.
Now, that last one didn't impress any colleges?
How dare you.
I was told it wasn't original enough.
Yeah. Well, they don't know what they're talking about.
But I do know what I'm talking about because, as a true intellectual, I know things without having to be taught them.
Yeah, I already knew that.
Okay, so there's the thing. You can't know anything unless you are taught it by someone in a position of power.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. That's crazy.
So fuck this. Fuck all of these criticisms or critiques that the system of academia may be infiltrated or fucked up or somehow in error. Instead, you need to have a professor tell you these things, because otherwise you can't learn them on their own. Guess what? You can. Go to Google Scholar, type in whatever the fuck you want, and if you can't find it, then go to scihub.io, and you will find pretty much every single fucking study on the planet. You can read it yourself and educate yourself.
And he's also acting like all of the people on the right just make shit up and talk out of their ass. Well, you certainly do have people that do that. There's plenty of people that know what the fuck they're talking about, and you can check what they say. And either they're right or you can like make up your own mind. The other thing is that, and I'm still adjusting to this thing, like on the left, where like the whole like idea of doing whatever the fuck you want and believing whatever the fuck you want, that is so over. It's amazing that now it's people on the other side that represent that shit more than the left does now.
Absolutely. Sorry. Alex W. Thank you for the super chat. Holy fuck, I just tried re-listening to some black guy stream on Candace Owens, shaking my damn head. Half the time they were going off topic. I'm glad you do hard research and even talk to Tilder. I love Tilder. He is very... Yeah. I was very nervous when I first went to talk to him, only because mostly because I respect him a lot, but he has kind of a reputation for being a bit of cold and distant, but he was extremely nice guy.
He's the real deal.
I really, he's very smart.
Should we really quickly touch upon Candace Owens?
Probably, since I've gotten a couple people in the chat asking about it. But Pisces gal, the only thing... thank you again for the super chat. Everybody, thank you. The only thing leftists are experts on is burying their fucking heads up their asses and shitting where they eat. Thank you, that's very true. Calling him a leftist Alex Jones is insulting to Alex Jones. He's not. Thank you, Crazy Ace King 2. He's attempting to be. Yeah. He's attempting to be Alex Jones, and very poorly. As for the Candace Owens thing, look, I view Candace Owens the exact same way I view someone like Laura Loomer. I think that they're opportunists who saw that the cultural gestalt had changed. And so as such, they wanted to change their own method of getting shekels. They have a new way of trying to get money and achieve their own personal or political or financial goals by just saying, "Oh, look, I'm a conservative."
Yeah, my take on it is, well, first, as far as like materially, like what the bottom line is, like that site, if the site's no longer up and operating, that would be the ultimate thing I care about. Now, with that being said, it does seem like she's not telling the truth in regards to what the site was. She said it was just a splash page. That doesn't seem to stand up to scrutiny. Also, she's playing out of the propaganda playbook when she's claiming that anyone who is, I guess, disagrees with her is part of a paid operation of attack, which is complete bullshit. Insanity. So there's a lot of bullshit that I think she could have avoided if she just would have said, "Oh yeah, sorry, I took the site down," and just delete the site completely and don't lie. But for whatever reason, she's decided to go the bullshit route.
Yeah. Harry Channel, thank you for the super chat. What are your thoughts on the cringy, self-deprecating humor of Greg Gutfeld? I don't even know who that is.
He's on Fox News. He's like, I don't really. Yeah.
I watch clips of TV.
I haven't seen him in a long time. I'm generally not a fan of people in corporate media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
So I mean, he's better than Keith Olbermann and Rachel Maddow, so I guess I'll say that.
Much,
but like, he's pretty much, yeah, that's where I would have him.
But on a bad day, he's better than this god awful crap. Most stuff is better than this god awful crap.
Oh, he's funnier than this. But again, this bar is so fucking low that it's probably an insult to him to say that.
Also, Lehman, what the fuck is up?
What's up, Dr. Lehman?
And is this the official cuckolding stream?
How would it? Can you explain, like...
Lehman, explain.
Explain how that would work.
Oh, he might want me to send Bob and Vagine. I don't know. That might be it.
Yeah, I don't really... You guys are very... or much more smarter than the rest of us.
Yes,
so a lot of
Bob
this shit, I have no fucking
very
idea
high
what you're
intelligence.
talking about.
You have to have an extremely high IQ to understand Bob and Vagine.
Vagine? Bop and Vagine?
To be, everyone. So, when we return, I sing a rendition of Piano Man without all the globalist lies.
Okay. Whatever. That's all right. Bye.
Next clip.
All right. What's the next one on? Oh, this one is another pet peeve of mine. More for me than maybe some other people. But this is on the subject of coal.
The world around us, it's crumbling. Day in and day out. Good colliding with evil, like some giant hadron smashy thing. It tears at my soul. My viewers know I'm against war, except in cases of national security, or if we need oil, or if, we feel like having a war. Besides that, I'm completely against war, which is why I was thrilled at the latest bit of peacemaking to come out of the White House.
EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt said he would be issuing a new set of rules that override the Clean Power Plan that was the centerpiece of President Obama's drive to curb global climate change. Pruitt said, quote, "The war on coal is over."
The war on coal is over.
The war on coal is over.
The war on coal is over.
Oh, yes! 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 You feel it? Can you feel it? The war on coal is over.
So, first of all, this really irritates me because these lefty coastal cucks, they have no idea how incredibly influential the coal industry is to the Appalachian region and the Rust Belt. In particular, what I find really repulsive and if you are a person who also cares about human rights, you should care about this regardless of whether or not you give a fuck about the economy.
Yeah, but Hicks aren't people.
No, I'm not even going to talk about the Hicks. If you don't want to care about the Hicks, you should care about the Chinks. Because guess what? The way that we have destroyed coal in this country through NAFTA and the TPP is by basically like so many thousands of Chinese coal miners die every single year so that we can get coal a little bit cheaper. Meanwhile, the American coal industry is completely dead, and as someone from that region, yeah, it is a pet project of mine that I don't like seeing people who have no clue how important coal was to that region. And we still fucking use coal.
Right.
Now, preferably, I would like to use nuclear energy.
Sure.
But a lot of these, well, that's a whole can of worms that I don't know if I want to get into. But if we're not using nuclear, and there's a lot of leftists who hate nuclear energy because, it's so dangerous, Chernobyl, that's bullshit. But if you're going to be anti-nuclear, the amount of solar panels and wind turbines you would need to run this country, you would have to cover, like, basically every square inch available, and then at some point you actually start to see diminishing returns for a lot of reasons. The idea that wind and solar are enough to power a country at this point in time of the size of the United States is a complete and utter absurdity. Again, you don't want to go nuclear, you're going to have to use these dirty fossil fuels. So again, but they're fine with us importing it from China and thousands of Chinese workers dying every year. And that makes me it's like, okay, you claim to care about human rights.
They don't care about Chinese human rights.
But they don't care about the Chinese human rights as long as we can, and they hate coal, but they don't care how much pollution China emits. It's just us. We're the only ones that matter. See, this absurdity in the level of hypocrisy and double standards is so evident when you start to look at it with even a tiny bit of scrutiny.
That's why the Paris Agreement was bullshit.
Yeah.
Because China didn't have to do anything for like a decade, and then they weren't going to do anything anyway.
Right. Horror Freak, have you heard the drama surrounding Laura Loomer and how she's a right-winged Harvey Weinstein with a vag? Yeah, I watched Jim's video. I saw that shit happening on Twitter, and I was like, what is this? But yeah, she seems like a crazy person. I mean, I already thought she was, but...
yeah, the tire thing, I was like, oh, she's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, she's
that's a bit of an added dynamic to her as a, quote, journalist, that she's out of her fucking mind. But you have to be careful. She might sue us for saying that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Apparently, she's gonna sue Lauren Southern or whatever. Luca Clemente, I am as left as Jamal Thomas. This is not funny. It's just not funny. I mean, you know, I fall left on some social issues. I'm fiscally conservative, but I just I'm willing to admit I could be biased.
Dude, I just like to. Likely am, I always like to point out that, like, if you're that left and you watch and you're cool with this, like, I give you respect, because it means that you are completely cool with people that disagree with you on shit. But see, this is the thing. Like, I don't view Jamal as a nut. I think he's a very smart dude. I just fundamentally disagree with him on shit. But he's a great person to have a discussion with, because he's not insane. Like, I don't see... So for the people that talk about, like, whether it would be, like, a real left or a sane left, there is evidence that exists. Sure. I do think that more could be... I'm not on this stream, obviously, but more could be discussed in that regard, because I generally am very hard on the left. But if you're that far left and you're still on board, God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, absolutely, and thank you for the super chat. Crazy Ace King, I live on the East Coast and I can attest to coastal cock remark. Well, we live on the East Coast.
Yes.
I grew up on the East Coast. I know it very well, but I mean, I've also spent a large portion of my life in West Virginia and in Appalachia, so I know that shit too. Matt Fields, thank you as well. The war on coal is over and the working class lost. I saw the industry dry up overnight, along with transportation, worker jobs on the West Coast. This gets way worse, man. The level of derogatory remarks that he makes towards workers.
Does he go, oh, you just got to retrain. Just retrain.
No, it's a comedy show, so he wouldn't actually give you a real... Look, let's just...
All right, sure.
Fuck.
And it's time for America to do two things. Hose ourselves off and celebrate. We did it! The war! Yeah! Ha-ha! Boy, that confetti falls fast, doesn't it? You know what? I made a choice that black confetti would be a good way to symbolize coal. And to think the guy at Party City said this would be sad and depressing. Who's throwing a goth quinceañera now, Ted? I am glad the war on coal is over. I love coal. It's one of America's traditional energy sources, like Mountain Dew and crystal meth.
Yeah, that's a very, like, Colbert kind of joke. I would like, he would have said something like that, I think. Airborne Red Pills, disappointed in Aiden. Nat gas is the most woke. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, no, I don't have anything against natural gas. Just in terms of energy production and actually cleanliness and safety, nuclear is by far the actually most woke.
And coal is amazing because it's brought to us by miners. Solid, hardworking Americans doing backbreaking work. And frankly, we've lost too many of these rugged, manly jobs already. Whalers, cowboys, Confederate soldiers.
Wow, this is very disrespectful.
See that?
Holy shit, Confederate soldiers.
Yep.
Wow, you guys are fucking... That's some horrible shit.
There's that priming again, though. There's that association.
Damn.
That coal mine... Not only... So here's the things that just happened there. That coal mining is so outdated, it's akin to whaling. And horrible that it's akin to whaling. And that it's also somehow racist and only stupid fucking hicks do it.
Wow.
By the association with Confederate soldiers. That's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
You know, like, in West Virginia, do you know when a lot of the bars open? Like, so everywhere else in the country, bars open between, like, noon at the earliest, maybe, and maybe 5. Mm-hmm. Like, probably on average, a bar opens at 5, or maybe a little earlier, if it's just a bar. Some of the bars in parts of West Virginia, they open at 6 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes. Do you know why?
Why?
That's when the fuck the coal miners get off their shift.
Oh, Jesus
They've been working all night in really grueling environments. Now, they do make decent money, but it's because that's when the coal miners got off their shift.
That's... like...
You're disrespecting the fuck out of those people.
That's incredible. That is so incredible.
Andy C., thanks for the super chat. Jesus Christ, this is embarrassing. It's the culture war equivalent of the H.L. Hunley submarine that drowned the crew as soon as it launched. Yeah, this show is only I think it started in September.
Yeah, it
So
just
it's
started.
new.
And that you would make coal racial, that's incredible.
It's because it's black.
No, I mean, I know that the person in the chat said that's funny, but they are just at war with anyone who is not them. Even, I mean, they just don't give a fuck. Wow.
Right.
Although they are making a comeback. Still, it's a real tragedy. And
just bullshit.
Just like the recent eclipse, it's all Obama's fault. Under his cruel...
No one blamed what?
The eclipse on Obama? No, I saw the eclipse was racist.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of misrepresented. But Dark Truth thanks for the super chat. What I miss? Unfunny, cringy shit, man.
So wait, let me clarify. So just because I want to make sure I have it correct. There was a study that the media misrepresented to make it seem like the eclipse was racist, but that's not what the study was.
It wasn't a study. It was just an op-ed. It was somebody who basically looked at the traditional areas in which black people lived in the United States and then compared it with the trajectory of the solar eclipse and just found that based on living areas, black people were less likely than whites to see the eclipse. Just based on where it was actually watch Tildear's video on it.
So you could say that this was an unfortunate product of the way that
it's just
America
where people have settled.
Right, okay.
It's just where people have settled.
I got you.
Samurai Squirrel, thank you for the super chat. Aiden, can you do a video about high IQ people being socially maladjusted and what can be done about it? I'll have to comment on your last video about it. Thank you. Yeah, I can because I have some personal experience with that one. But definitely, and I actually have some studies on that that I can that are basically at hand and stuff that I could dig up. Yep.
Tyranny, coal production fell 38%, while his beloved wind and solar went up 369%.
Now, you have to understand, 369%, it makes up, I think, now, I don't know these numbers off the top of my head, but I think at this point, it's still providing, like, less than 5% of the overall power to the country. Right. So you look at this number and you go, oh, wow, wind and solar are doing so well. Not really. Not really. It's not providing much fucking power.
Is this like the... what right-wing terror is far more prominent than Islamic terrorism.
Right, when we do all kinds of finagling and don't actually reveal numbers.
Right, exactly.
Mitch, hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Mitch?
Thanks for the super chat. My nibbas, I have so far survived my workplace injury. Have some dough. Thank you. I actually didn't hear about your workplace.
Are you serious?
Did you? I think I saw you DM'd me on Twitter, but I didn't have. I was like working on setting up OBS. Man, sorry. The moon is. Thank you, Crazy Ace King again. The moon is white. It's racist. Surely someone. I'm sure, but it's black half the time.
That's true.
So, I don't know.
Then it's only racist half the time.
Okay.
That's simply wrong. I'm no mathemologist, but I know percentages can't go over 100. They're exactly like credit scores. And if that wasn't bad enough, the number huggers at PolitiFact say coal jobs have been on the decline since 1978.
Yeah, what does that coincide with?
Obama has been...
Now, he's about to make an absolutely terrible inference.
Fighting coal since he was 17.
So...
I can just imagine him cutting class, setting up his precious wind turbines to blow honest coal miners' money away. I mean, what other explanation?
Okay, so that's terrible. That's not, no one's blaming Obama for the entire decline of coal. That's NAFTA. Like, that oh my God. And also, it's very funny that that particular picture is a little bit striking, the little Photoshop you put up, because if you go to West Virginia, all over what coal country used to be, do you know what's there now? A bunch of big, hideous wind turbines that are bird Cuisinarts.
Wow.
They're avian Cuisinart. That's the good way to call them, because they actually do.
Using them.
No, they use them.
They do?
The thing is that they're massively destroying the local bird populations.
Oh, Cuisinart, the blender.
It's a blender.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
They're killing bird populations en masse because the birds fly into them.
That was a really good joke. I forgot that Cuisinart was a fucking blender.
A Bar One Studio, thanks for the super chat. Donating $2 so Aiden will read my $5 comment. Did you make one earlier?
It's like set up.
I'm really
is there. That coal has been pushed out by cheaper, cleaner energy sources?
No, cheaper. No. We're still buying coal. It's that you're buying it from the Chinese who have no standards whatsoever, so they all die, or a lot of them die. God damn, what
like
a lie.
Wind or natural gas or sunlight? Please. Sunlight can't even keep the plants in my basement alive. Coal is perfectly safe. It's just that they don't want you to know that. That's why places like CNN, look at this right here, they have to go on television and lie about it.
Coal-fired power plants are one of the nation's leading source of carbon dioxide emissions, and most scientists agree those emissions lead to global warming. And of course, coal-fired power plants cause terrible air pollution.
Stop! Air pollution is a myth, like asthma. Some kids just cough more.
That Cryon said that China is going into the 21st century and the U.S. is going back. Are they suggesting that China is leading the U.S. in their cutting of coal production? Is that what that's trying to say? That China is engaging in less pollution from coal than the United States?
I mean, it's CNN, so I'm sure they're fucking lying.
Holy
but
shit.
I wouldn't be surprised. Airborne red pills. The moon is so racist it puts on blackface. You know what? 5 years ago, 2 years ago, nah. Anymore,
no,
I don't fucking know. Larry Lyons, thank you for super chat of the devil.
Avian
Avian
smoothies.
smoothies. Thanks. Thank you for the super chat.
But ending the war on coal wasn't just a victory for Trump. It was a victory for people who work with Trump. Here's EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt.
The president made a promise to the American people that the EPA would not be an agency that picks winners and losers.
The EPA is like the popular vote. It's not designed to pick winners and losers.
Of course.
It's not their job to show preferential treatment to one specific energy source. It's up to the market to decide, and or the Trump administration to prop it up if the market makes a mistake.
No. This has not been okay. There's so much about, like, when people say that we have a true free market economy, that's not absolutely correct. Now, I do think, though, that there needs to be some protectionism. That we can't just we cannot just buy this shit willy-nilly from China. And by the way, all hilariously, well, we're held to standards that China is not. It makes it unfair in that if the United States is held to extreme standards of mining coal, and China is not, well, then of course they can produce it much more cheaply, and thousands of Chinese can die every year because they don't give a shit about maintaining the safety of their mines because they have no standards. That's just not fair. And it's, I mean, life's not fair, I guess. But this is about leveling the playing ground. This is a misunderstanding of free market economy. Eric Goss, thank you for the super chat. Is there actually an audience laughing, or is it all canned? I think this is live.
I don't recall seeing an audience. It's definitely projecting as if it's in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I recall them ever showing an audience, though. Like Colbert definitely showed an audience. I don't know if I've ever seen them show an audience.
Actually, I don't think they have, because I've watched now a couple, or I've skimmed through at least a lot of these, and I don't think I've seen it.
So that's a good question. I would say that's to be determined.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the laughter. Maybe it's, I don't know how you can tell.
David Clinton, thank you also. Hey, Aiden, why can't I pause the stream? I can only stop it. I don't know, because it's live, probably.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Now, if it sounds confusing, don't worry. Intellectual powerhouse Rick Perry will explain it to you.
We had a hearing last week of energy producers, and every single supplier said that the market should value their product fairly and be open to competition. Do you agree with that?
In the what's the right word? In the mythical world, I would agree with that. In the real world, that's not the case.
Yeah. Secretary Perry knows the mythical world of the free market.
Free market is a myth. Jesus Christ. This is what I just described, though. We're being held to certain standards under the EPA that make it impossible for us under the standards to compete with China economically. That's why this is a problem, and why he's talking about this mythical world.
He read the same capitalist fantasy books I did growing up, like Watership Trickle Down, Ender's Games.
It's not trickle down. He's
And
not
Harry
saying anything
Potter
about
and the
trickle down
Goblet of Fire
economics.
anyone who tries to unionize. So, here's to the EPA for...
Coal was a massive use of unions. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Picking the right winners.
And steel, for fuck's sake. Both industries that have been practically wiped from Appalachia.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The war on coal is over. It's like Times Square in 1945. Welcome home, boys!
I think he just does some I think that's
like
the end of
that.
Hmm?
I mean, not that there's anything wrong.
No.
Boy, nothing like that. Breath of a man who's been in a hole for hours. Yeah, we have won the war on coal, but aggressive progressives won't stop until they've neutered all the industries this country was founded on. Where does the next war begin? Citizen journalist Nicole Thurman, she has the answer.
Oh,
Nicole.
this is awful.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
You know, I will tell you, it is nice to have a president who's willing to stand up for coal miners and all the other real American workers.
Is this a fuck
But
white
he
people
has to-
segment? It feels like a fuck white people segment's coming on. Maybe not.
It's actually, it's not even, it's more stupid. I don't know. I don't know which one I would hate more.
Continue the fight.
Right, for the ranchers, the farm people, and anybody who works in Texas.
No, Jordan. I'm talking about Blockbuster Video employees. Yeah.
I do want to point out, okay, this is why I find this
Thank
really
you.
annoying, because what they're saying is that coal is so outdated that it's the same thing as Blockbuster Video.
Right, which is totally dishonest.
Despite the fact that we still fucking import large amounts of it, just as we import large amounts of steel. And all of the arguments that these fucking assholes make is that, oh, we don't need, steel is outdated, coal is outdated. Okay, then why are we still using it?
Right.
If it's so outdated, we wouldn't be using it. It's not like, instead of going to the Blockbuster, we're just importing fucking VHS tapes because they're cheaper from China, although I did that for sure. John O, there's hammering in the background. Please stop it.
Yeah, if that hammering doesn't stop, I'll come down there myself.
Get that insanity out of your ear, man. I think that's basically it, though. I
The
just hated
video
this
rental
comparison.
industry used to be the backbone of small-town America, employing thousands of flannel-clad teens and uncles with softcore pornography addictions.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever. Like,
good-
I think this is all her only point, though. I listened to a little bit of this and I just felt disgusted.
Yeah, it's not
because, it's just, this is it. It's just, nice face. The only comparison, or the comparison they're making is that coal, again, is as outdated as Blockbuster. Then why do we still use it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Why do we still import it? Why do we pay lots of money to import it? I think that's about it for this one.
Cool.
What's the next one? Here's
Antifa.
The,
Yeah, this is incredible. This is fucking incredible.
Okay.
Jesus. Ugh. Here we go.
The fascism. And I'm not alone. Kobe Levy infiltrated this group and escaped with this footage.
So they infiltrated
So we're here on the campus of UC Berkeley, where a number of groups have organized to oppose fascism. Now, obviously, the opposition is opposed to fascism, but before we can stop fascism, we have to stop the groups who are stopping fascism. The
So immediately, the narrative is bought immediately that Antifa is fighting against fascism. That's the bullshit narrative. It's the Mark Bray narrative. It's the lunatic professor narratives that come on shows and act like, oh yeah, this is where it happened in Nazi Germany, and same thing happening now. So this is just the same deal. People fighting fascism. Bullshit.
It's funny though, that shitty CNN commercial of this is a banana or this is an apple, it's not a banana.
Yeah.
But that totally does apply to Antifa because it's like we're anti-fascist.
Right.
We're anti-fascist. That doesn't mean we're going to use any. So of course it doesn't matter if we use all the same techniques that the brown shirts did.
Right.
It doesn't matter because we're anti-fascist.
Because we say it. Yeah.
Because we say it. So yeah. Ministry of Wrong Thing. Thank you. Steele Dossier is also. Ayo, there is something on the Steele Dossier in the videos that we're going to go over. Well, we watched it. It was the one where he just
the Clinton thing. Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Fascists, also known as Antifa. I'm so sorry.
The most destructive group in American life right now is Antifa.
These people are neo-communists. That makes them the equivalent of the neo-Nazi.
Antifa!
In the month after the deadly events in Charlottesville, America's 6 top newspapers wisely spent equal time condemning fascists.
Hail our people! Hail victory!
And
pull that old fucking Richard Spencer clip out, of course.
Anti-fascists. Fortunately, the media knew that Antifa was just as dangerous, and so did I.
So see, they're upset that the media dared to say that Antifa was violent. When, if we look... Waywardland, thanks. I'll check Streamlabs at the very end. I don't have... Oh, I'll have to check it on my phone. Actually, shoot. Sorry, guys. This was a little bit... I spent like 2 hours setting this up because I had to totally start from scratch. I will do something. If you hit me up on Twitter or something like that, just... I don't know what to do. Because I would like to read it, but I'll respond to it maybe in private or something.
You probably have a way to...
Yeah, it just might be hard for me to, because I've had to change. Guys, I have to change my passwords all the time now, and then it makes it hard for me to get into things.
I ventured into an Antifa compound / 2-bedroom in Oakland to oppose them face to face.
We're gonna see. Oh look! Oh, they're just.
Oh, aren't they cute little mousy
laying
men?
down your arms to meet me today.
Well, thanks for having us.
Great. What actions do you take as part of Antifa?
The main goal of most Antifa action is to dissuade fascists and racists and bigots from openly.
So let's just clarify something. What they're while it may also include fascists, a fascist is anyone that they deem a fascist. So it doesn't matter if you're actually a fascist. I've seen them deem black people fascists. I've seen them deem old people minding their own business fascists. There was a guy that was hunted down and stabbed because he, in an interview with either as a newspaper or a news show, called for open dialogue. I
mean, how dare he,
so
really?
The label fascist is put on anyone at any time that they deem to be fascist. That is a fucking insane way to go about it.
Well, yeah, but also, did you see how they said dissuade. Dissuade. They didn't say to attack, but to dissuade. Right. However, when you look at all of the things that they say on their actual documents and in all of their postings, they support an outright call for violence because they say Nazis aren't people.
Right.
And we can now, I mean, I've certainly taken part in my own communists aren't people memes. But I don't actually go out and do it.
Right,
I'm not fucking throwing anyone out of helicopters yet. But but no, there's a difference between making a fucking meme and actually going out and doing it. And they're serious as a fucking heart attack.
Yes.
Views that we find repugnant on the streets.
These are Bay Area Antifa members John Kukenboo and Vincent Yokelson, which are somehow real names.
You both look like stone cold killers. How many people have you each punched today?
I think I'm up to 0 so far. How about you?
I am still at a rank of 0.
Oh, you haven't punched anyone today, so that means nothing anyone in Antifa has done, and that there's nothing about their group that is in any way reprehensible or violent. Checkmate.
Total bullshit.
You say you don't punch people. I did not say I don't punch people. Okay. Some on the extreme right talk about a concept of peaceful ethnic cleansing.
What are we talking about? We're talking a very small amount of people that I'm aware of. The idea that this is something that is so serious and is happening where we actually have to tolerate people being labeled fascists and attacked is ridiculous.
It's also vastly misrepresenting. Like, okay, so sure, there are going to be some crazy people who do want a genocide. I'm sure that there are people who want that, absolutely. But I think when they're talking about peaceful ethnic cleansing, they talk about someone like Ryan Folk, who I'm sure would be the epitome of a Nazi because he is alt-right. But he's not advocating, I don't at least know of any major thought leaders or any thought leaders within the alt-right, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, of course, who call for ethnic cleansing. At most, they call for segregation. They want to be separate and apart from other people. That's what Ryan Folk advocates for. That's what people like Jared Taylor advocate for. That's what what Richard Spencer advocates for. They're not asking for black people or people that are of other races other than whites to be genocided or ethnically cleansed. They want their own ethno-state. Now, I don't agree with that, and I mean, I agree that they can do whatever the fuck they want within their own territory and space, but this whole idea of this is my issue, is that I don't think anyone fucking understands the alt-right because they won't talk to them, and instead they do this insane misrepresentation shit. You don't have to agree with them. You should listen to what they say without totally misrepresenting. They're not. I'm sure some are. I'm sure there are some that want. Black people.
Look, with any group of people, there's of course there are in any group there are people that have extremist ideas. But like I said, the idea that this is becoming like the hot button thing, and people are like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, let's just build this movement, and more people are like, oh yeah, I'm on board with that.
Oh yeah, there's
great, let's and then everyone at the Milo speech is on board with this. Is a total misrepresentation.
Yeah, everyone who listens to Milo Yiannopoulos wants a ethnic cleansing.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't agree with it, with the ethno-state stuff either necessarily. But again, I don't care what you do on your own. If you want to move to an island and do it, that's your prerogative. But anyway, Dark Truth, thank you for the super chat. Sad thing is, these people think you're a Nazi, then you need to die. I say talk it out, but then again, that makes me a coon. Yeah, I'm sure they would call you that. They certainly have shown that they have no qualms about calling black people every...
Or they'll police your associations. Like I've seen YouTubers police black YouTubers associations with people by making like who was the guy in Django Unchained who was measuring skulls? They'll like throw that as a joke, like you were hanging out with these people. It's like,
no.
Do you see what you're doing? But, do you understand what you're doing? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why can't you just be peaceful like them?
Because they're not peaceful. Their followers and supporters show up with violence.
Wow.
So do you, though. So do you.
Every single time, too. It's been Antifa to start the shit. Every single time.
Even if it's not, like... this is why this is so insane, because even if that wasn't the case, and I covered the rallies on the news stream, I think back since January, and that's true. Antifa did start it, but even if they didn't start it, and the idea that one side is allowed to be violent, is crazy. Both sides should not engage in violence, and that is a controversial statement that people get outraged over, which is fucking crazy.
Well, because they're on the right side of history. The whole idea about this is that, like, we're morally allowed to do this, but look, they're even lying, because they're saying they come out here and they're violent. So when you look at the death toll right now, I think it's 1-to-1.
What's the
Heather
death?
Heyer, and then I think that one guy died from Berkeley. There was one.
Right.
I don't know which Berkeley it was now, but I think somebody had been put into intensive care and then later died.
Okay.
So I think it's a 1-to-1.
Okay.
But the amount of damage, is certainly higher
property
on one
damage
side.
is
Property
way
damage
higher.
and physical violence is certainly coming more from one side than from the other. What was it? Now there's been so many, I get them all confused. Which was the one where they came out with the shields and they were just beating people?
Yeah, basically, in a nutshell, it started where Antifa would show up with weapons, and eventually the people on the right started showing up with shields, and that's how, like, Stickman came to be and that whole thing.
No, there was one protest I think it was a free speech protest, and then the cops didn't stop the Antifa people. They all showed up with, like, shields and were just bashing into people. I don't know if it was Berkeley. Was it something where I heard
Seattle?
I heard that someone had died.
It might have
after
been the
fact.
Seattle Milo thing.
Look into it again, guys, because I'm not positive, but I think I had heard that a little while ago that someone did die.
Portland.
It was after the fact. Like, it wasn't as a direct result.
Right.
Like, they died like a month later as a result of their injuries.
Right.
But whatever. Even the thing with Heather Heyer, we don't know a lot about that. That still seems like that guy has never said anything publicly. And I think he clearly was crazy, or at least indoctrinated from what we know about his social media, from the looks of it, that he was probably a little bit off. But the whole situation was confusing. But you're right. No,
technically it hasn't been investigated. Look, I have no problem going with if they're saying that's on the side of the alt-right and they're responsible for it, that's fine. But also, though, like people are not responsible. Like, if you're against violence and you're at a rally and another person engages in violence, you're not responsible for that. Because if you were, then you would be arrested. Like, that's not how that shit works. So, but you know what? We're like getting in the weeds with that. The bottom line is, you should not attack people. Period. No matter what.
Exactly. And I'm a pacifist, and if people want to call me a cuck for that, I guess you have to attack me first, but
self-defense is fine. If someone attacks you, do whatever.
Russell Shackelford, it was not confirmed. See, that's why. Thank you.
No, that was Milo, which was Seattle, but it was never confirmed.
Okay, that might be what I'm thinking of then. Either way, though, violence on either side is never right. Self-defense is justified. Right. Because it's fucking self-defense. Right. And if you know these people are violent and they have proven themselves historically to be violent, well, I don't blame you for bringing a weapon to these things to use in self-defense. I don't think it's probably not the best way to go about it because you are kind of coming into it with
the other thing is it's also on the police to set things up where you're not allowed to bring weapons in and keep everyone separate. And in the protests that have gone on...
But in open carry states, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to bring their guns that they own legally.
Well, no, I mean, that's a separate issue. I'm saying in the protests that have gone off without violence, the police... What they all have in common is the police did their job, kept everyone separate, and didn't allow people to bring weapons. Open carry, that was Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's open carry in Virginia. If you're not breaking the law, then you should be able to to do whatever the law allows you to do.
But we saw that. I remember was that in South Carolina where Richard Spencer had a speech, and immediately as soon as they made the Antifa take off their masks because there was an anti-masking law there, they all left. Yep. And so as long as the police are doing their jobs, look, we find time and time again, this shit doesn't escalate.
Exactly.
It's in the situations where the police are told to stand down, and you let these people get away with, look, okay, whatever. We're getting more into...
Yeah, no, it's just right.
I'm not interested in joining your white national state. Do not bring it to my house.
Their house of lies. I needed someone to talk real with me.
Real talk, people who join Antifa could have easily joined, the Richard Spencer group. A lot of these people are just young guys looking for some action.
Bloomberg column.
I wouldn't disagree. I think on both sides you're going to find people for one reason or another who are or feel disenfranchised.
I agree with that. I think that that has to do with a lot of this on both sides, young people that are disenfranchised that join groups. And what's interesting about this, because this is pure propaganda. Mm-hmm. So this is Eli Lake. He's like a corporate media journalist. They're going to make an example out of him because they're going to embarrass him because he dared to say what we just said and what he just said, which is this is people on both sides that are looking for action, and I don't think he said disenfranchised.
I said that.
Okay. But I agree with that ultimately. But that he dared to say that because in the corporate media, the only thing you're allowed to say is that there's only one side and it's basically okay to commit violence against people that you deem engage in racism or wrong thing.
It completely goes back to the absolute media a shit show where they just shit their pants for a month after Charlottesville over the good people on both sides. How dare you say that? How dare you? Well, maybe there were. Not everyone there was a fucking Nazi.
Right, not everyone at that group was a Nazi. And look, I've been in cults and I've been in groups, and regardless, there are hundreds of people. You can't make a moral judgment of everyone, but regardless, when you look at both groups, they represent the extremes on both sides, fascists and communists, right? Those are two different sides, and both sides in the extremes do fucked up shit and are wrong. And if you really want to get detailed and get deeply into it, you look at fascists and you look at communists, and then you look at the body count that each ideology is responsible for. It's both. It's bad. Okay, because we're dealing with millions of people, but what do you have? 3-4 million on the?
Oh, don't undersell it. It has to be at least the 6 gorillion.
It's as many as they say it is.
Whatever.
On the fascist side, and on the communist side, what is it? 10 million.
60 to 90.
60 to 90 million. So 60 to 90 million versus the amount that they say it is.
6 to 10 tops.
Which is whatever they say it is.
Look, it's like the whole idea of horseshoe theory is kind of ridiculous in this. Now, it does not mean that fascist violence doesn't happen. Of fucking course. And I mentioned this to you the other day. That it was in Florida, that there were some guys who took pot shots at some people after a Richard Spencer rally, and they have been detained.
Yeah.
Now, it is true. No one is talking about that. And I am a pacifist. I, of course, would not condone any form of violence outside of self-defense.
Yeah, so violence is wrong unless you're doing it in self-defense. That applies to both sides. That is not controversial. And there you go. And it was whatever number they say it is.
Columnist Eli Lake was part of the media apparatus that knew that anti-fascists had a whole lot in common with the group they were specifically named for opposing. That's why he calls Antifa also fa, which is also funny.
It's absolutely true that there's violence on both sides, but I think a lot of people are just there because it's like a release. It's exciting. You treat it like a, Renaissance fair. Or like a Star Trek.
I think that's a very reasonable take. That's a very reasonable take, but it doesn't paint people as evil that need to be opposed, and therefore they're going to have to mock him.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the whole fucking... Yeah. He's making a decent point that a lot of this is sort of social proof and social group identification display, in that I am part of you, therefore I will do this, which is exactly what the fuck LARPing is. It's exactly what role play is. It's exciting to go out there and play a role, and they're going to make fun of him like what he just said is absolutely absurd, when actually I think it's fairly apt in terms of why we see the numbers of people outside of the paid ones show up at Antifa counter protests or riots, whatever you want to call them.
Or something. It's a LARPing situation.
Little live action role play.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Let's imagine what it would be like if we were out there protesting. So let's say you guys are you, and I'm a knight of the Ku Klux Klan, and we've brought 3 dragons.
You need a legitimate scenario that we might...
I just the fact that they like to pretend this every single time, that there is this pandemic of Nazis and KKK members. It's a complete absurdity. Oh, by the way, look, he's actually wearing armor. He's wearing... True. I'm pretty sure that's like Ren Fair armor. Yeah. So this is so funny that they're acting like it's a joke. Look here on Girly Man's right-hand side. That
is armor.
I'm pretty sure Ren Fair armor.
Counter, because I can't prepare for dragons.
These are serious situations where there is the potential for violence and injury and or death to people who are out there, so taking these protective measures is necessary.
Necessary? Like, by any means necessary? Like, by murder?
That's funny, because that's the name of your fucking group, and then they just show his goofy face like it's a joke.
Yeah, like he can't be... What are they trying to say? That he's not capable of murder? I think he would be very capable of murder. Like, everyone's capable of murder.
Look, just because someone looks goofy and they're a skinny little twig doesn't mean that they're not capable of killing someone or of hurting someone. World War II, 65 million Nazis, 6 million commies, 250 million and going. Yeah, thank you, Matt Phillips, for the super chat. That 250 million number, that's way high. Look, the whole thing is, and you have to, this is okay.
But this number is okay. You can debate it.
You can debate these. You have to, though, you do have to look at some of the sources. You look at communist sources, and just, not because they're right, but just you have to look at every single source and kind of make up a number for yourself, because honestly, we're never going to fucking know the real numbers.
But only do this with communist deaths. You can't do it.
You can't question.
You will not. I'm naughty. I'm being naughty.
It's because you're around me. Because
so
did you know I've been labeled officially a member of the alt-right several times now? So this.
I do remember that. Yeah.
And you are.
I'm like, I didn't.
With me.
How did I know that? I didn't even know. I didn't know she's an alt-right. I didn't know. Oh.
You're talking to me.
We should talk about politics more.
Yeah.
Because then I would know.
Because we never have talked about politics. But yeah, because if you're talking with me or doing anything with me, really, it could be anything. That definitely
all counts.
It all counts. It's every time you're basically goose stepping.
Somehow.
Right, and you're committing another show.
Has Antifa killed? And feel free to round to the nearest 100. That would be 0.
Here we go.
Are you rounding down?
Professor Mark Gray is a
now here we go.
Anti-fascist.
Okay. Mark Bray is a total propagandist. Yeah. He is if you go to his Twitter account, he is an avowed communist, and you will see him do media rounds. And if you are not telling the truth about Mark Bray, I argue that you're a propagandist, because they say he's an Antifa expert. Like he's this neutral professor that's just, this is my field. No, he is basically an Antifa supporter. This would be like, I mean, I guess I won't say like interviewing Hitler about the Nazis because that'd be extreme. But this would be like interviewing a very biased person on a subject. So this is no different than if you were to bring in Richard Spencer to talk about the alt-right.
Yeah, pretty much. I was gonna say, I think maybe even Richard Spencer. No, he's pretty much, he is the alt-right's salesman.
I just can't see. I'm trying to figure out because I see all these people in the alt-right like saying "fuck Richard Spencer," and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to understand like who's considered fake, who's considered real. I saw the whole thread where they're like these marches are ridiculous, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, so I don't know, but that's a whole nother thing. I'm trying.
You're right. I know a lot of people find No, you're completely correct that they find the public protests to be very cringy because this is not going to... The alt-right, if they want to accomplish anything, is not going to be accomplished by walking through Charlottesville with torches lit saying, Jews will not replace us and hail Trump, hail our people. Unfortunately, if they want to achieve anything, that's not going to work in the political climate. There's no way. Now, the thing is, if you are afraid of the alt-right earnestly, driving them underneath the surface and maintaining this is a really good way of making sure that they start coordinating with each other in a more intelligent way.
Yeah.
That's not going to be cringy public protest with tiki torches.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with fascism. I think that I understand why some people do. As hard as that is for me to say, as an extreme proponent of democracy, but I understand the flaws in it. And I also understand why people might advocate for fascism or monarchism. But if you just make it so they can't say anything, they'll go underground and they will stop doing this stupid fucking protesting shit, and they'll organize this shit in private, and that makes those ideas way more attractive via psychological reactance. So let's listen to this fucking cuck explain how Antifa didn't do nothing.
His ilk believes that just because right-wing extremists are responsible for 36 times more injuries than left-wing ones, that fascism is somehow more dangerous than anti-fascism.
Oh, I'd love to look at these numbers. What is this? Let me write this down. New York Times, August 15th.
I think we've actually been over these numbers before.
Did they just not include the Antifa numbers? Because this number 1 is fucking preposterous.
Well, no, it's not even Antifa. They're just saying left-wing violence in general versus right-wing violence.
So I guess they're not including Antifa.
They're not including and chances of getting injured by political extremists. I don't think so, my dude. One, I think you
would literally have to exclude Antifa from this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, because when we debunked the statistics, when they claimed right-wing extremism was more prevalent than Islamic extremism, they cut out the Ohio State University attack. They cut out the Boston Marathon bombing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I guarantee. Now, I can't. I would be very surprised if this was not an extremely skewed statistic. This is just, or they're including everything back to World War II and being like, oh, well, look, this includes.
Right, maybe, yeah.
Although Nazis weren't particularly right-wing, they were pretty centrist. yeah, I'll get in trouble for saying that again. Well.
Time for this professor to get schooled by me.
Don't we want to stop Antifa before they kill anyone? It's always been my belief that we have to stop violent groups before they spread, before they get worse. And this is the best example of that I can think of.
This is a comedy show, so they're purposely trying to play it up like it's righteous and right for Antifa to get violent first, because otherwise Hitler will happen again.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my comment because I think I know where this is going because we watched
example are the fascist and white supremacist groups that have a track record of murder, and that's exactly the logic that anti-fascists.
Yeah, you have a track record of violence
too. It's much easier and more effective to stop these groups before they grow. Hitler started with 54, so anti-fascists argue, let's stop it before it needs to become.
Okay, so this is where I wanted to make my comment. Hitler started with the DAP, and yeah, it was about 54 people. It was a very, very small party. I think it was more than that, but whatever. The point is, Hitler did not start out of a place of nothingness. He didn't just start with 50 people and then say, hey, let's go kill all the Jews. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, yeah, let's do that. Right. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, very interestingly enough, the fucking commies were rioting and had violently taken over German cities at the time. Germany was the Weimar Republic was in very real fear of being basically taken over by global communism. And the German people, who were primarily socialists, well, they didn't want fucking anything to do with that. They were more interested in Germany as a state, and they were literally being invaded by communism. And so what the fuck are these people doing? Going out into the streets, rioting, trying to take shit over with thousands of people, just burning and destroying public and private property. That's how Hitler got started. It was the commies and the Jews, but that's a different dude, not to the no, I don't want to get into this fucking thing, but it's not the it's very complicated, but
look, this is one of the reasons that I'm always arguing on my channel that I don't want things to continue to go the way they're going, because you can sell a scared populace something unconscionable. That's the whole point of learning from the Holocaust. But apparently that is a controversial position that I don't want. I mean, think about, let's just look at it. Let's just make one example. Whether it's France or the UK, or let's say the United States, things get worse. And you're having constant terror attacks, and you have a scared populace, and then you have whether it's the alt-right or some nationalist movement births forth a politician that's charismatic, that sells to the scared populace, rounding up Muslims and putting them in camps. Like, that could happen. I'm trying to avoid that from happening. And what's so funny is when I get pushback on this shit from people on the left, I'm like, are you aware that, like, the United States rounded up Japanese people and put them in internment camps? Like, human beings are very capable of shit like this, and it really doesn't take a whole lot. It just takes a populace that's scared, that will agree to something crazy in order to feel safe.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter whatever you're fucking... This is why I said I don't want to get into it, but the truth is, it doesn't matter what the fuck you think about the JQ or whatever. The fact of the matter is, and this is all that really matters, is how people think, because we're a social species.
Right.
The German people in the 1920s were afraid that the Jews were taking over their country. They were afraid the communists were taking over their country. And at least in terms of the communists, there was, and in terms of the Jews, did have a lot of control over a lot of businesses. They had reasons to believe that, and if you were able to spin that, well then yes, you do end up with a Third Reich.
Exactly.
So these people being like, look, we have to be violent first. You are trying your hardest to imitate Weimar. That's very bad. If you really are afraid of fascism, this is how fascism got started in Germany in the first place, idiots. It's amazing. It gives me a headache, because how can you be so ignorant of history, not understand that you are fucking repeating it?
Mm-hmm. Another civil war.
So you're saying Hitler started with 54 people. Sort of an awkward group size. You know, it's like you can't all fit in someone's house. It's like you can't really book a venue. You know?
The anti-fascists kept bringing up Hitler, but in the words of Ice Cube, are we there yet?
I think you have to be very precise. We're not in a Hitler moment.
One of the great mistakes from World War II was fighting fascism too hard, too fast. You agree?
That's nuts. No offense. That's crazy.
This is another time where like they're trying to get someone into a stupid trap, and they just make themselves look fucking idiotic.
Yeah.
Fight it.
And I don't like this guy either. But
no, I don't like you like at all. But like, if he says something correct,
right?
Like,
it's
there
correct.
you go. Right. Exactly.
Soon enough.
When do you know fascism has grown to the point that a violent response is appropriate?
Well,
Look, he just asked him a really difficult
That's
question.
a very hard question to answer.
When is violence necessary? You know, I mean, even like Hopian libertarians and people who ascribe to this would say that's a difficult question to ask with communists. And I do meet people who really do want to throw commies out of helicopters. Even, you know, people who think that maybe, myself included, who think that it is potentially, I don't want to get into this, but it's potential. If things get so fucking bad that the only way we can fix society is to physically remove communists, and I'm a pacifist, so this is really fucking difficult for me to even
We're obviously
consider.
talking extreme scenarios,
right?
Here.
So you're asking me at what point, and I can't give, and as someone who would even say that I think that's a possibility, I couldn't give you a fucking number. That's a very, very difficult question.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that, like, if you have one side that's going on the offensive violently, then you have no choice.
Right.
That's basically. So I'm a big proponent of, like, you have to fire the first shot, but I'll come back with a level of defense that will at least hopefully make you regret doing it.
Sure. I tend to agree. I am a pussy pacifist after all.
Can you give me a second?
Trick question. It's when there's Hitler. And since I haven't heard anyone speaking German lately, I knew I should be less worried about these guys than these guys.
I'm Vincent.
How about they're pretty much the same?
Yeah.
They talk a lot of shit.
Well,
one side, society finds more offensive than the other. But, I mean, really, like, this is, ideologically, they're not the same. But, like, the idea that one is so much more evil than the other one is ridiculous.
I don't know if I agree.
What, that you think one side is more evil than the other?
I don't like the word evil. I think if we're talking about the long-term proclivity, propensity for violence, I think that the ethno-nationalists, for the most part, again, I brought up the fact that 3 of them just got arrested in Florida for shooting, and I find that repugnant. But in terms of the sheer numbers, the ethno-nationalists seem to want to be left alone by their very nature. The Antifa want to go out and actively end people who disagree with them politically. And you can fucking hate fascism. I don't like fascism. Again, I'm very hard on loving democracy. I love the the democratic republic we have in this country. However, yeah, they think this political ideology and anyone who ascribes to it should be dead or not exist. That is a difference, I do believe. I think that the ethno-nationalists, for the most part, certainly some do, but I think for the most part, they, and tell me if I'm misrepresenting this, but I think for the most part, white ethno-nationalists, they just want to be left alone.
Right. I'm saying
I don't agree with them again.
I'm saying that
whatever.
the media's narrative that one of these sides is so much more evil than the other, I think is ridiculous.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're completely right. Prodigal Champ, thank you for the super chat. How's it going? Okay.
Going good.
Probably, yeah, I want to see, because you're going to stream after this.
Yeah,
so we should probably try to
Sure. Yeah.
Get through this. I think this one's almost over, and then we could do
the
one
Hillary
more.
Clinton.
Yeah, we'll do the Clinton one. What's the other one? Oh, the other one is he had Bill Nye on. I don't know how much I care. It's just
we can
cringy.
just go to Clinton. That's fine.
Let's just go to Clinton after this.
Nicholson, I'm in food service.
And with that in mind, I went back to try to stop Antifa once and for all, and I would not leave until I had succeeded.
I want you guys to stop fascism by no longer fighting fascism.
No.
It's a false. It's a total false. That's a false equivalence.
No. Also, you're not fucking fighting fascism. You're just trying to silence people.
By labeling them fascists.
Right. Right, but also, look, and I've said this many times, psychological reactance is a very powerful thing. Nothing makes, and some people call this a Streisand effect. The term is psychological reactance, the term in research. I've said this like so many times. When you make an idea hidden or obfuscated or bad, it makes it way more interesting and appealing to people because you told them they weren't allowed to know the idea. So the fact of the matter is, nobody sells fascism more than Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
No one sells it more. Truly, and the far left. No, this is a fucking... I mean, frankly, what have you shown us here? You have shown us that these so-called fascists, they're out there looking badass and scary. And what do the Antifa look like? They look like a bunch of little pussy wimps. This is a fucking commercial for the alt-right.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing about how the media basically recruits for the alt-right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Negotiations had failed. I had to create some sort of anti-Antifa. A perfect protest that no pundit could criticize. These black-clad Antifa soldiers would be no match for my whitewashed movement. After all, the only group that was worse than people trying to build a fascist white ethno-state are the people trying to stop it.
That was Kobe Levy.
And by the way, you know, if you don't have cameras rolling and and you're not from Comedy Central, you might get your ass kicked.
Oh, absolutely. Underall, thank you for the super chat. The Tiki Torch guys have a grievance they feel replaceable. That can be addressed. Antifa kill everyone they don't agree. How do you work with that?
That's a great point. Yeah. I agree with that.
It's true. And this is why, and I found this, and I know this is why I get called alt-right, or what did Edgy call me? Functionally alt-right? Because I agree with them on, I understand where they're coming from. I agree with them on certain statistics because it's
statistics are not I mean, statistics are statistics. They're not.
Well, if I have evidence, if I have evidence, then of course I'm going to agree with it. But and evidence that I can verify. But they'll talk to me. You know, everyone I've ever talked to that's more alt-right will talk to me. The left, they just call me alt-right or a Nazi or fascist, which I'm clearly fucking not. No. I'm such a degenerate. I mean, yeah, I mean, but the alt-right will talk to a degenerate like me. And we can talk about their issues and concerns. The left won't do that. Thank you, Underall. Prodigal Champ, thank you as well. Can we please stop pretending Democrats are liberal? How liberating is censorship?
Yeah, they're not liberal. I mean, that's true. But this brings up like the whole issue of like the labels and how to use them and all of the changes. It's like makes your head spin, really. What? But censorship is obviously not a liberal position, but the left is and Democrats are completely for it now. The people fighting for free speech are now conservatives. This is just wild.
Yeah, somewhat. This gets very much, sometimes these terms become conflated and intertwined and intermixed in a way that makes it difficult.
Democrats tried to claim liberalism, but they really were not, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but there's also reasons why liberalism inherently might not necessarily be averse to censorship. So I'm like, look, here's the thing. There's no one pure political philosophy.
That's true.
Everything has ups and downs, and every single side will at some point try to censor people, I think. Outside of like pure hardcore ANCAP libertarians, and I'm biased.
Yeah, see, like I've seen people like talk or at least point out with people who have claimed that they're liberals, and then in certain areas they will be forced or okay with censorship, and I'm like, well, apparently that makes that then I'm not a liberal because I'm opposed to censorship regardless, unless it's something dealing with like child pornography or like showing like. I mean, I think technically is it illegal to show like people being murdered under certain circumstances? Like obviously shit like that should be censored.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like
real snuff films and shit like that should not be. That should obviously be illegal.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but outside of that, if you have the most abhorrent viewpoints, like about race or whatever, like I don't agree with them, but like they should not be censored.
Right, and I'm not a pure ANCAP, at least. I mean, because I don't know, because the thing about being ANCAP, though, too, would mean that if it violates the NAP, the non-aggression principle, then I would be opposed to it. So things like child pornography violates the NAP. Murder obviously violates the NAP. So if you're doing something that's in violation, now watching it, I find repugnant, though. I've seen murders happen. I've seen videos of that.
I think like a news video with the murder on it's different than like a snuff movie. There's like a difference. But anyway, it's a whole
subject, fucking thing. Yeah, Ministry of Wrong think, bro, this is de facto propaganda. My
yes,
yeah, it
I
absolutely
agree. It
is. Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. We'll do this one last one. The
Clinton DNC dossier. This is from the other day.
This was actually the first one I think we watched. Yeah.
To catch you up, last night I told you that traitorous Arizona senator and...
I realize I may not have been actually playing some of the clips. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Future owner of a sandals resort, Jeff Flake, announced that he was too much of a coward to run for re-election. And he gave a whiny speech about how dangerous Trump is and how scared he is for our democracy. And now the elitist news is popping champagne. It's all over their front pages. Look, the New York Times, right here. Flake denounces Trump. Wall Street Journal. A rift is widening among Republicans. Oh, and these ink chuggers here at the Washington Post. They can't get enough of this GOP civil war. Good thing the incredible Huck knows how to smash the puny Washington Post. Give it to him, Sarah.
As I've said many times before, I wouldn't use the Washington Post as my source, Jeff. You should know better than that.
Yeah, Jeff.
I laughed at
You
that.
idiot.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the Washington Post is just like an acoustic guitar. It's only good for shredding. Yeah. Boom. Take that, you liars. I don't need to listen to the Washington Post. I listen to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. So check out what she tweeted a few hours after putting idiot Jeff in his place.
The real Russia scandal. Clinton campaign paid for the fake Russia dossier, then lied about it and covered it up.
That tweet based on reporting from the Washington Post.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, hang on.
First of all, it's not a coincidence that one of the most maligned papers is now being defended by Comedy Central. And regardless, this is a story that you can get from multiple sources.
New York Times, even
and look,
everybody.
Getting a
reported on
story right does not undo all of the things that you've lied about. Like,
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, no, exactly. It's like, I mean, a broken clock's right, twice
Right.
a day. So, congrats. You reported on something right once, but so did every other paper when this came out.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The good old Washington Post. You can't ever trust them until you need to. Like expiration dates or banks inside grocery stores.
So, just again, an appeal to authority, acting like it's preposterous to not trust the Washington Post. That's full-blown propaganda.
Now, I saw this right there in the corner. Clinton funded Russia info, and I got excited. And a little swollen in my downstairs. Specifically my feet. I've got a crippling circulation issue. Doctor said I eat too much salt, but I love olives.
This is not even funny. Like,
yeah, it's just not at all funny.
you could have actually made a funny salt joke about
Sure.
constantly being salty and butthurt about stuff, but you didn't even go for the salt joke. I mean, maybe that's not mainstream enough for normies, but
I don't know. It's just not funny.
yeah.
My foot condition is terrible, but this story couldn't be less terrible. Listen.
A law firm representing the Clinton campaign and the DNC helped fund opposition research that eventually led to that now infamous dossier on then candidate Donald Trump.
She just thought that she could get away with it because Hillary thinks she can get away with everything.
They paid for the research that became the fake news anti-Trump dossier.
We got her! Yeah! Oh, proof that Hillary Clinton was colluding with outside agents to smear Donald Trump. Audience, underneath each of your
He
chairs
said
is a
outside
smoke.
agents, but he didn't say Russia.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah.
Good.
They
Yeah,
don't
you
even
gotta-
want, even though they're mocking the narrative, the true narrative that
Right.
the Clinton campaign colluded with Russia, they can't even say it. They had to say
Right.
outside agents. Fascinating.
Yeah. Damn.
Fucking gun. Pick it up and pull that. We cut the guns because they're dangerous. Which part? The smoke or the guns? Both parts. Okay. Moving on, guys. This is a bombshell. A bombshell that dropped yesterday. Technically more.
Yeah, Russell G. Shackelford, he really is. I just want to point that out. Everything about this guy's attempts at jokes and delivery, it is stolen completely from Colbert.
Yeah, it is.
It is one for one the exact same fucking shit. Like, at least he doesn't even sound like Alex Jones. Like, he's trying to be Alex Jones, but sounds nothing like him. If he wanted, he does it in little segments. But even I can do a better Alex Jones impersonation than this guy can do. Yeah, like, come on, like, do the if you're gonna commit, you have to fucking commit.
Yeah.
Don't do this half-ass. I'm just gonna pretend to be Colbert shit.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Mike Keru01, thanks for the super chat. If there's one thing we learned from JFK leaks, is that the CIA isn't funny. Media plants for decades. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking a little bit suspect. Santiago, thank you as well for the super chat. I like how they wrote it to where they didn't have to show the audience. Yeah, we
I
have
don't know
not
if this
seen
is a
the
real audience or not. It's very debatable, I think.
Yeah.
Like a year ago yesterday. Back then, we knew that this dossier was funded by a Republican rival during the primaries. We don't know who it was, but it probably rhymes with the word Beb exclamation point. Once Trump secured the...
So this is another part of this narrative that's going on right now, where it's like, let's not pay attention to the fact that that they fucking paid for this shit.
Right.
It's like, maybe the Republicans started it. So that, really gotta blame them. Don't look at Hillary. She didn't do nothing,
and
as
usual. It's always, of course she did that.
Right.
Like, before any of the evidence drops, it's like, Hillary Clinton would never do that. And not only would she never do that, Donald Trump did that, and he is horrible. And then it turns out Hillary did it. Like, of course she did it.
Everyone does
What
this.
else would you expect?
Everyone does
She'd be engaging
research.
in malpractice if she didn't do that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Nomination, Democrats took over funding the investigation, which we already knew. But
yeah, old news. This is the same thing with Uranium One.
Old news.
Old news. Leave it. We knew this. We've never denied
You
this.
mean the old news that Snopes and you motherfuckers said wasn't true
Yeah.
is now? Oh yeah, no, of course that was true. No big deal.
what we didn't know
God, it's
was
disgusting.
who were these Democrats. It turned out these Democrats were Democrats working with the Democratic National Committee. And the DNC was trying to elect Hillary Clinton.
Who, by the way, totally stole that nomination.
Right, yeah, this is true.
So you're not going to mention that, though, while you're talking
No,
about
of
how...
course
Okay. Mike Kidder, thanks for pronouncing my name right, Weebs. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I would have had no chance at that one.
Yeah, well, you're talking to a giant fucking weeaboo. So, at least on one side of the table.
I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway.
I can't. What doesn't she have her tentacles in? If you want to talk about real Russian collusion, you need to talk about Hillary colluding with this dossier. She might get impeached over this whole thing. Now,
it's not funny. It's not funny at all.
I could explain all of this to you, but I don't want to. So, I've got Kobe Labie, our self-appointed research expert, to break down this dossier.
Thank you, Jordan. During the run-up to a presidential election, campaigns gather opposition research on their opponents, similar to what you do when you start dating someone.
But the whole thing that's so weird to me is that the Trump Jr. thing is that they have been doing this for months, acting like collecting opposition research is illegal.
Yeah.
And how
it's outrageous.
How dare he even meet
Yeah.
with someone to talk about gathering information on Hillary Clinton? Now it's everybody
Everyone
does it.
Of course, it's normal.
And in this case, it was gathered in a dossier. The word dossier is French for folder, or as they say, foldet. And this foldet is full of reports made between June and December 2016, which honestly was not a very good year for reports. Very dry, bitter, too much tannin. The dossier is essentially all about Trump's supposed Russian collusion. It claims there was a multi-year effort by Russian authorities to support Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The Kremlin provided opposition research and access to potential business deals in Russia. It also alleges Trump's campaign paid Russian hackers to target Hillary and the DNC. In exchange, the Trump campaign agreed to sideline the issue of Russia's illegal occupation of Ukraine. And I'm happy to have Ukraine on the sidelines, so long as it isn't kneeling.
Okay.
Had to get that in there. But this totally... Then they're going to walk right over this, because as they already have, that Hillary Clinton's campaign worked with the Kremlin.
Yeah, of course.
So that was... And that's been... We now know that, without question.
Yes, that is now, yeah.
What he just said was all bullshit. Well, it's unconfirmed bullshit.
Unconfirmed bullshit.
From a PP paper.
Yes, PP paper.
But Lotian Loris, thank you for super chat. Deus Volt Infidels. Yes, make Istanbul Constantinople again.
But, Kobe, none of this has been verified.
Yeah, exactly. None of it has been verified, only deemed by a former CIA...
Yeah, but about Clinton and the DNC has been verified.
And what's funny is, like, when you actually look into what they're saying, it's like, what they'll say is verified is that, like, Vladimir Putin would like to influence other countries and spread Russian interests throughout the world. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Really? That's shocking.
Yeah, that's what they will say is when they say something's been verified, and they all day fucking long on CNN and MSNBC they do this shit of parts of it are verified. That means it's
not the important parts that are damning.
Not the salacious parts. We never said the salacious parts.
Or even the other shit that's damaging to him. None of it.
But also, but like, if you the whole purpose of this was that it was supposed to be blackmail against Donald Trump, and you're saying all of the blackmail parts are totally unprovable or unproven.
Right.
Then Oh yeah, and then please point to me the evidence where Trump has lifted sanctions on Russia.
All right, exactly. It has not.
All right.
Agent is generally credible.
Perfect.
Blackmail's working real well.
I don't believe in credibility or the CIA. Or wisdom teeth. That's a whole other story.
Sure, some of the details have been corroborated, but the most salacious details have not
Here
been
it is.
confirmed.
That's a lie.
That's what we're just talking
You're
about.
talking
though.
about the PP tape?
Yes, that's what salacious means. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go take a salacious.
Yes. Thanks, Kobe. Now, great thinkers. When you hear about a dossier filled to the brim with these crazy stories about Trump and Russia and meetings and collusion, any sensible person can only come to one conclusion. Hillary Clinton was never fit to be president.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not what I would have gotten from this, but...
I would say the no-fly zone in Syria shit, but, you know, whatever. If you want to use this, fine.
Think about it. She wasted millions of dollars digging up dirt to brand Donald Trump a bad guy. But here's all Donald Trump had to do.
Commonly referred to as Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary.
Again, this is like an advertisement for
Crooked
Trump.
Hillary.
But the other thing is they're trying to say that Hillary Clinton was virtuous and that
Right.
Donald Trump wasn't virtuous because
Right.
of how he did it, but Hillary Clinton was virtuous.
Well, this is what they were saying, right? Was it like, oh, well, Hillary could have used it, but she chose not to. Because she's a good girl.
Yeah.
She's a good girl. She chose not to
Get
use
the fuck outta
They
here.
did this, but they didn't release it until after
Yeah.
he was elected because she's just such a perfect and pure innocent angel.
Yeah, incredible.
Whereas Donald Trump called her Crooked Hillary.
I know.
It's not like she called half of the American people
Basket of
deplorable.
deplorables, yeah. Fuck her.
Fucking A.
Jesus Christ.
No fancy French dossiers, just simple American words like crooked and low energy and your dad killed JFK. All free. Donald Trump doesn't pay for anything. Not research, not words, definitely not contractors.
He didn't have to because he ran on something. He didn't have to spend
exactly.
millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to do nothing. To try and convince people that he wasn't the absolute worst candidate ever.
This is interesting. Russell's
Russell T. Shackelford, that's definitely a fake laugh track. Cuts off instantly when needed. No last clappers trailing off. That's
a good point. And when you combine that with the fact that we have not seen an audience shot, and this does seem to be fake.
That's, it's interesting. It's like when I'm trying to listen to their stupid shit they're saying, I don't notice it because I've been trained to do stuff like that. But like, I'm sure that's correct.
Because he's a true fiscal conservative. Who do you want in charge of tax reform? Stay there. The opposition will return.
That's it. All right. Okay, guys. Yeah. This has been 2 hours.
Wow, we did 2 hours. Damn.
I know.
Time flies.
How awful. We'll do a couple of ending words, and if anybody wants to send any more.
So that's basically what they're doing on Comedy Central, and people asked us to go over this, but I was thinking about it because it's just interesting that they think that by making a show that makes fun of people who basically realize that the media lies, that is a total losing proposition on their part.
Right. And if we just pulled out a couple of clips, but in reality, if you watch the show through the entire episode, it's all the time. It's mocking the idea that the whole idea of InfoWars, that it's hilarious that somebody would say the mainstream media lies when we have found them lie again and again and again and again. So I don't think this is helping you. It's basically just don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Stop trying to think critically. And look at this, isn't it funny how crazy these people are? Now, certainly, Alex Jones is hilarious and crazy in his own way. I mean, most of it's a fucking joke, but some of it's a joke. Yeah. But the attempt is to discredit everybody outside of the mainstream media. It's to discredit people like you and me, I guess, to a lesser extent. I don't do news, but that's the whole idea. Is that anybody who questions the mainstream media and mainstream narrative is out of their minds, and this is what they would be so crazy that they would be like this guy.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think there's no way this show survives.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know. They upped Star Trek Discovery for a second season.
Yeah, that's so popular though. I mean,
Among who?
No, I mean like it's like Star Trek is Star Trek, and
it's true.
I think you
the
can
shortest,
probably get more people to watch that.
Yeah, Star Trek
like
Enterprise had terrible ratings and ran for 4 seasons. So, which is the shortest ever. Well, no, besides the original. The original series ran for 3. Sorry.
Oh, and I imagine that they're at least, I don't know when the time slot's going to be, but if that show gets canceled, from what I understand, Francesca Ramsey's Comedy Central show is going to happen.
Oh, God.
So that's going to be, I mean, I've seen clips, like freeze frame pictures from it, and what are they doing? Like,
it looks awful.
It looks terrible.
Eric Goss, thank you for Super Chat. When does the comedy start?
Was there one funny joke throughout all of that?
I thought his books were kind of funny.
The one book was funny when it was the Sudan.
The Sudan, yeah. Is it a car? That was okay. A Prodigal Champ, $2. To be honest, I don't watch any of this. Good.
Most of the people, when I will do a news stream or we'll do shit like this, they would never have watched this shit anyway. It's just more like
right. It's
look at what they're doing in the other world. Like
yeah.
most people, I don't even think.
Well, no, exactly. Yeah, the whole thing is that when Hard Bastard and I do stuff like this, we'll watch it so you don't.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, with that, guys, it's been 2 hours. That's a long time to go. So, watch Hard Bastard stream in.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the new stream around 8:30 or 9. And so if you're gonna watch that, come on over. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you everybody so much for the super chats. One last one, Stephen Farrell. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Catalonia's declaration of independence and Spain's crackdown in response? Is this another nail in the EU coffin? Potentially. That was really messed up. I think that's the shortest time a country has ever existed. Thank you. I think the EU is dying very quickly. And Russell T. Shackelford, all praise gay, homophobic, hermaphroditic. Yeah, because Keck is a hermaphroditic frog. Traps aren't gay. Also, anyway.
They should be.
No.
They're not, but they should be.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Bye.